start today with this. This is the this hymn to Brahma. So I'll just sing that song, then Urmi will join. Okay?
Yes.
So Nali is vanished. Very good.
Yeah, I am here.
No birth, no death, no caste have I. No birth, no death, no caste have I. Father, mother have I none. Father, mother have I none. I am he, I am he, I am he, blessed spirit, I am he. Sorry. No birth, no death, no caste have I. No birth, no death, no caste have I. Father, mother have I none. Father, mother have I none. I am he, I am he, I am he, blessed spirit, I am he, I am he, I am he, blessed spirit, I am he. Mind, no intellect, no ego feeling. Mind, nor intellect, nor ego feeling. Sky, nor earth, nor metals am I. Sky, nor earth, nor metals am I. I am he, blessed spirit, I am he, I am he, I am he, blessed spirit, I am he. No birth, no death, no caste have I. No birth, no death, no caste have I. Father, mother have I none. Father, mother have I none. I am he, blessed spirit, I am he, I am he, I am he, blessed spirit, I am Thank you. So high pitch.
That's why you were singing it. It's too high pitch for me. So that was a master's version of Hymn to Brahma. If you heard the words, it says, no birth, nor death, nor caste have I. Father, mother have I none. I am he, I am he. No mind, nor ego, no mind, nor something, nor ego feelings, sky, nor earth, nor whatever. Basically, I am nothing, nothing, nothing. I'm just he. So that is master's work.
Urmi, is this a Bengali song?
Could be. Most of the chants have a Bengali version.
I was just wondering if she can sing the Bengali version also.
Oh my God, I don't even know.
No,
And-
Anurupa may know it.
No, this, I have not heard it as a
Oh.
Bengali one, but many of the chants do have Bengali versions. Yeah. So we'll start with the prayer. Divine Mother, Heavenly Father, friend, beloved God, Babaji Krishna, Jesus Christ, Lahiri Mahashaya, Swami Sri Yukteswar, my beloved Gurudev Paramhansa Yogananda, beloved friend and guide Swami Kriyananda, saints and sages of all religions, I humbly bow to you all. Thank you for raising the vibration of this class. Thank you for connecting us to God. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. So in which page were we?
220.
No, I have it marked at 224. What is it?
225. You will start from last paragraph. Our responsibility before God.
Oh, okay. So Anurupa is always very, very precise. So I will go with her. She remembers everything. So I think Swamiji in the last class, he was talking about monastic life and what does renunciation in this day and age mean. It certainly doesn't mean that we go and sit in the caves and don't connect with the world and don't have any worldly duties and simply give up everything. So the new definition of renunciation in the Dwapar Yuga, that is in the energy age, is very, very different from what we understood in the Kali Yuga. Okay. Our responsibility before God is our own. As Krishna says in the Gita, it is better to fail doing one's own duty than to succeed doing the duty of another. Whatever may truly be one's own duty, and it is no easy task to discern what that duty is, one cannot accomplish it by simply handing that decision over to someone else. So here, what does duty mean? It actually means recognizing what your life purpose is, which is not an easy task. What am I uniquely here in this world to do? And many people through their lives just do not even begin to understand that. But I can give you a hint. You will know you are on your life path when everything to do with that activity falls into place very, very smoothly. It comes almost naturally to you. And it becomes success very, very fast. And when you are engaged in that activity, you are so connected to your core that you feel very joyful doing it. Okay. So when you hit upon any such activity that really, what do you say, that really lights your fire, that really makes you passionate about it, and which also you will see any life task will somehow be connected to uplifting others, if I may say so. Because what is the universe's agenda? The universe's agenda is the highest good of the greatest number of people. So when you are connected to your life task, you will see that automatically it has a kind of a ripple effect, which will affect many, many people, not just you. So it is a true life task is never personal. It is always going towards the impersonal. So what your life task is, you should focus on that rather than trying to be somebody else, because that is not your life task. So very difficult to, most people don't realize this for lifetimes after lifetimes. Most people don't even know what they are passionate about. Why does that happen? Because you are not connected to your core. And what is one good way of getting connected to your core is a regular spiritual practice, such as meditation. Without it, also, you may hit upon your life task, of course. But this is one way. If you don't know what really inspires you, what really makes you passionate, then you have not discovered your life task. And once you do, it will put you on a permanent high, and you will never lack energy to do that. So what Swamiji here is saying, that it is better to fail in performing one's own duty or life task rather than to succeed at something which is not your life task. You may succeed, right? But that is not your core. That is not who you are meant to be in the world in this lifetime. So,
Urmi, can I ask you a question?
yeah.
You know what? When you talked about your life purpose, there were two things you said. One is that you things easily fall in place,
Yeah,
and the other is that you feel like charged up about it.
correct.
Now, I just wanted to check. You hear of so many stories where people, ultimately get some success in one particular path, but the story is usually that it was not an easy, and there's a lot of failure, and they pick themselves up and go. So that is kind of contradictory to this, right? So just wanted your perspective.
Possibly it was not their life task. You understand what they are saying, that it is better to fail in doing what you were meant to do rather than do somebody else's. So sometimes we may be barking up a wrong tree. We may be trying to do something which is really not meant for us. We may succeed at it to a certain extent, but maybe it was something a little veered away from the path that we are heading towards. If it's a huge struggle and you are exhausted, you may succeed at the end of it, but I wonder if there is that ease and joy which comes when you are truly on your life path. And sometimes there may not be worldly success in the very conventional sense. Like there are many artists who were obviously on their life task, and they were passionate about their work and they did their work, but in a worldly money sense or recognition sense, they did not get it, but they got it in, after they died.
Yeah, but when they were going through it, they wouldn't have had success, no? So how
Oh,
would they
but
know
they
that they are on
would
their?
do it. See, Yamuna, that is a soul calling. No matter if I don't make money, if people are casting me out, if I am a recluse, I will still paint because that is my sole purpose. It may not get me worldly success, but I am successful as a painter. Possibly the world was not ready to receive my work. But after I am dead, now for the next 1,000 years, I am acclaimed as the greatest painter. So that guy was on his life task, provided while he was painting, he didn't care about anything else. That is what drove him. That is what gave him joy. So when you are talking about people who have become very successful after a lot of struggle, my question would be, are you joyful at the end of it? Do you feel you have touched God? Do you feel you have touched source in doing that work? Then it was your life task. Otherwise, yeah, money is money. Yeah, okay, fine. You did make a lot of money. So the point is, are you feeling connected to source while doing that? There will be an endless stream of energy flowing through you if you are on your life path. Right.
Ma'am, Himani has a question.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, Himani.
Yeah, so Urmi, on the same lines, I like experienced something like yesterday. So regarding my business, so it was an exhausting day. So as you say, you will not. I got physically tired. I
Hmm.
got exhausted because from morning to evening, I was trying to complete a few things which had to be presented today. So, but mentally, I was willing to do it, but physically I was tired because I was on my foot since morning. So I think even that is okay. And even failing sometimes from certain, as I've told you in some other class, like from a big company, they displayed my product for a while and then sent back the remaining whatever, and it was a big lot which was sent back. So all that also happens, but like I'm okay even if it is sad, sent back, even it's a big amount. I'm not like sad or depressed or about it, oh my god, now what will I do. So I'm just okay, that's fine, and I'm going on and on, nothing is disappointing me.
Is it giving
So
you
is
joy?
that okay? But I get tired.
Is it giving
Yes,
you
yes, I'm
joy?
very happy.
Joy.
So today,
Yeah.
yes, yes, so today my presentation, whatever I have to display and everything went very, very well, and I'm happy about it, I'm so content.
And does it have a bigger vision which will connect
Uh,
somehow to many people in the world? It will ultimately, our life task is always connected to the bigger picture.
See, I have not think over that, but my thought process is less wastage and more organic products. What
Yes,
I'm doing, less of
precisely.
plastic, less of
Yeah.
chemicals. So that is
Yes.
what I'm
So
into.
that is affecting the world for the highest good. Okay.
Yeah,
If
over a
you're
period of
going
time, definitely that
towards
is.
organic, and that is really powering your passion, then it will succeed if that is what you're meant to do. Yeah.
Right. So success, yeah, sometimes it is not in terms of huge money, because I think I might have some blocks. I'm not valuing my effort that much, maybe because I already have a job and I'm in my comfort zone in terms of money. So I'm just doing it because I have to do it.
Yeah. As long as you're powered by something greater than just your own, comfort or success. So organic, yes. Sustainability, yes. That sounds like a life path. I don't know in what way you're approaching it.
Yeah, yeah. Let me see. And today morning,
Which
while I
aspect of the
meditated for six,
business,
7 minutes.
which aspect of the
Hmm.
business powers you is the question.
My creativity comes out at its best.
Right.
So like I make designer stuff like soaps and all, and I love the output. And whatever I do, I love the output.
Yeah. Okay.
So that is my driving thing. That,
But
and
actually, you
also
will
this
know.
morning, like I had to.
Yeah, I'm
Okay,
saying
over
you
a
will
period of time,
somehow
I'll know.
know if you are
No,
on your life path or not. There is a knowing. Yeah, Priyanka.
right.
So Urbi,
Okay.
there is a particular paragraph that I remember reading from one of the books of masters, which said that you have to be a better version of yourself. I think that's your prime path, and I think if you are on that path, today I may not know what my goal is. I may be doing just a householder, doing my office work and stuff, but if I'm improving day by day and if I am a better version of my own self, isn't that a goal? Because even if you look at a lot of householders, they don't know their goal. They are married, they are in families, they don't know what next. It's not like they can pinpoint and say that I have to become this or I want to go in this particular area, but they want to improve day by day.
See, everybody's life path is to evolve, okay, which is becoming a better version of ourselves, right? But there is a certain unique contribution which all of us have inside us, which we can make to the world. It's great that, yes, my duty is to look after my family, and I'm really joyful about it. and I am growing every day as a person. That definitely could be your life path in this life, that I just need to become a better and better person. But even while I am doing that, there is something unique in you which needs to be expressed in the world. A life path, a typical life path does not remain between, as Master used to say, us four and no more. So even if I'm becoming a better person, is my sphere of influence increasing? Or is it just limited here? So the more you expand your consciousness, the more joyful you will feel, and the more connected to source you will feel. And your life will go from the purely personal to the impersonal. It will move towards the impersonal, the vast. It will move towards what Anurupa just sang. No birth, nor death, nor caste have I. Father, mother, I have none. I am he. It will slowly move towards that. Right? Many monks and nuns in monasteries become pale images of their former selves in a negative way, unfortunately, not in a positive, egoless way. Many hermits and others also who justify non-activity by letting others feed them while they devote their own lives to, well, to what? Sleeping and gossiping. They become, in similar fashion, shadows of their former selves. One encounters few lion-like sadhus and swamis anywhere, heroes who have risen out of the ashes of fire-purified ego consciousness to soar like the legendary phoenix in the skies of inner freedom. So here actually Swamiji is saying that, many people just don orange robes, especially in India. It's not that all the sadhus and swamis that you see are actually very spiritual in nature. There are very few who are like that. Some people simply go out and they say that, they have this ego feeling. I have renounced everything. I will not work for my living. I will beg for my food. But often what happens is that in begging for their food and not taking any responsibility for their lives, they start becoming lazy. They start becoming physically lazy, and from being physically lazy, they become mentally lazy and spiritually lazy. So here also Swamiji is saying that there are nuns and monks who are cloistered in the nunnery. Maybe they have been put there when they were very young, when they didn't even know why they were going in there. And so for them, this life starts to suck their energy. So the intent with which you are entering a monastery has to be very, very clear, that I hear a clear call to be of service to God in this way. And if I am to obey that call, then I don't need any other distractions. But as Swamiji is saying, what happens when you see some of the monks and nuns in the monasteries in the West, they have become pale shadows of who they used to be. The life force seems to have gone out of them. So obviously they are not on their life path. It was not meant for them. They thought it was, and now they are trying to, do something which is naturally not a soul calling, and therefore they are losing energy. If they were on their life path, in their faces, in their, you would see a joy and a peace and a glowing brightness. If that is not there, then you may be thinking you're on your life path, but actually you're not. It is simply draining your energy. So it would be well to consider also a word that is too often used in a deprecatory sense, householder. What is a householder? Many so-called householders have, to begin with, no houses to hold. They have no families in the sense of children of their own, no wives or husbands, no great attachment to their possessions. It is assumed that the term means that they are involved in the struggle to acquire and exult over possessions and power, to dominate over others, and to nourish their own egos with the rich food of worldly fame and admiration. None of these things add up to the word householders. True saints, moreover, may actually have the houses they live in their own names. They certainly are not householders, for they in themselves have no sense that they possess anything. So what Swamiji is basically going towards is saying the renunciation is an inner attitude of the mind. It is nothing to do with whether you own your house, not house, whether you are rich or poor or nothing. Inside, are you a detached person? Inside, do you know that fundamentally you are a part of God and your only task is to evolve and not get distracted or attached to worldly stuff? Okay? So that is the true renunciate, according to Swamiji. The entire criterion must be raised to a higher level. The question is not what a person owns or what he does, it is what he is inwardly. Yogananda stated that to fulfill one's outward duties, as long as one still has duties to perform, is the higher path. It must be understood, however, that this is not intended as an excuse for running after worldly pleasures and fulfillments, which cease in the long run to be pleasures at all, and instead of fulfillment bring colossal disappointment. Whatever one does should not be done for egoic pleasure, but only to please God. Man's duty in this world, once he develops even a little understanding of what life is really all about, is, as Krishna puts it, to get away from my ocean of suffering and misery. So even Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita is telling Arjuna that, just get away from this thing that I have created, the ocean of misery and suffering, move above it. All else has one simply marking time and getting nowhere. Worldly success and failure, triumph and disappointment, joy and suffering, all these are mere waves that occasionally rise high on the ocean bosom of cosmic delusion, then sink back again, becoming equally deep troughs. So all the time in the Gita, there is this example of source as ocean. So they say the waves which rise higher are the waves of ego, seeking fame and admiration. And when that goes up, the downfall is equally, very, very hard and powerful. A yogi likes to skim on the surface of the ocean, closest to source. He does not want to, soar with the waves, and nor does he want to crash down below in the troughs. He wants to be just skimming the surface because there is no ego. He just wants to be connected to source. He does not care for worldly fame, worldly name, and therefore, all the worldly pleasures, and therefore he doesn't also suffer the dips of depression. So in Gita, the famous saying is what? Whether there is joy or sorrow, you remain the same. Equanimity in the face of anything at all, because you have to understand that this is an illusion. It is not real. So a person who has understood that will rarely get rattled by what is happening in their lives. They will simply be like the swan which swims, but water droplets just slide off its back. It is unaffected internally. So if we can bring about that in us, it doesn't mean becoming dead and numb and insensitive. It means that I am connected to a higher reality. There's another way of seeing this, that I don't get affected by anyone. I'm a psychopath. I am completely dead and numb to everything. There is no soul over here. So spiritually, I'm dead. But this kind of equanimity is when you are connected to source, you understand the higher reality, you scale higher heights, and therefore the world becomes in a way meaningless. You will do what you need to do in the world, fully understanding that these circumstances and these people are karmic debts which you have come to fulfill. You will learn your lesson from those encounters and you will keep moving towards source. But internally, you're not going to get destroyed or worried or, one day happy, next day sad. So that requires a huge amount of faith. So that is the true meaning of faith, knowing that I am always looked after and whatever is happening in my life is just a lesson that I'm here to learn. Can I, understand what that lesson is, learn it and move forward in my evolutionary journey. There is no point to it at all, this up and down of the waves. It is simply Maya, God's Leela or play. One who lives without ego attachment gets to enjoy the show for a time, if he so chooses, before sinking back into the watchful state of Satchidananda or perfect bliss. So, people who are Jivan Muktas, people who are free while living, whatever action they do does not accrue karma. So they are always in that state of connection to source, which is Satchidananda or bliss. Okay, so they are in that state. They may, just for the fun of it, indulge in whatever the world has to offer, but they are not doing so seriously. They are simply playing the game and moving on. They don't take all these things too seriously. So otherwise, the free soul acts in this world only to help others, those still seeking stumblers on the way, who aspire to eternal freedom as the one eternal reality. So people who are freed while living, they are actually internally completely detached, and whatever activity they do out of compassion for helping the fellow travelers who are still stumbling on the way. To try to achieve union with God by serving others while maintaining control over oneself is what Krishna recommends here, above the mere non-involvement in activity. So Krishna says that actually, just as I was saying, it has to be more than us four and no more. The consciousness has to expand towards everybody in the world, okay, and do that duty where you are aligning your will with the will of the universe, which is the highest good for the greatest number. When you align your will with the universe like this, you will see your life will become very different. It will completely change because you're aligned to what source wants. Source wants the highest good for the greatest number. Anything that you do which will help in that is going to, source will start supporting you in a very big way, in every way, because that is what source is interested in. Mass consciousness. Okay. The true nature of specific duty poses a more difficult question than the general nature of right action, namely without attachment to the results. It can be defined broadly, however, as that action which leads in the direction of calm inner freedom. So what is right action? Right action is whatever will bring us to that calm, detached state internally. Any action that will take us there. Indefinitely continued involvement in that duty may come in time to resemble the endless forward movement on a treadmill. The path of duty should never be a downhill slide to mental dullness. Always, whatever causes one's consciousness to rise is right activity. So, as I keep saying, you have to check in internally. Is whatever you are doing, is it giving you joy? Is it bringing you internal peace? Then that you are on the right path. If it is dragging you down to depression, if it is making you feel guilty, if it is making you feel fearful, then that is not the right path that you're on. Okay. That finally is why Krishna emphasizes activity over non-activity. Non-activity leads ineluctably to dullness unless one is able to engage his energy positively in the performance of deep meditation. So what do great yogis do? They may be sitting in one place for 10 years without moving a muscle. What is their activity? They are raising their energy up to source by continuous meditation. That's a huge load of activity, actually, to be able to really meditate and connect to source and constantly offer yourself up to source is massive activity. But some people, they say that, yes, we are meditating all day, and then they just become lazy. It's not easy at all to just sit there and meditate and concentrate. It's tremendous activity, actually. So the next verse says, O mighty armed Arjuna, only that person deserves consideration as a true renunciate who finds freedom from entanglement easy, having no likes or dislikes and no attachment to duality. So again, it is inner freedom that is being spoken of about here. Internally, nothing really flaps you at all. Okay, outwardly you may be doing many things, but internally you are detached, knowing that this is not real. This is a projection of our own consciousness. And we simply learn what is there to be learned, but we always remain connected to source. It is the ignorant, not the wise, who speak of the paths of wisdom, Sankhya, and yoga as being different from one another. One who is truly established in either receives the benefit of both. So path of wisdom is Sankhya, philosophy is Jnana Yoga, and yoga as meditation. So the different paths of wisdom, that is Sankhya or Jnana Yoga, all of them actually are leading to the same. If you are established in source, you know, it's useless to start arguing which path of philosophy is better than the other. As I keep saying, all paths are leading to the same end. The state attained through wisdom or Jnana Yoga, the path of discrimination known as Sankhya, is the same as that attained by action, the science of yoga, Karma Yoga or Jnana Yoga. Either of these two will lead you to source. The two paths lead to one single realization. Any path that you go deeper and deeper into will ultimately connect you to source. Renunciation, however, O mighty armed Arjuna, is difficult to achieve without God uniting activity, which is yoga, which is meditation. By the practice of yoga, the Muni is a sage, the Muni, whose mind is absorbed in God, soon attains the perfection of oneness with the Absolute. So yoga is a technique, is a path, is a science, is a way to help us to connect to God. We may, of course, accidentally connect also, if that is our soul path, but for the vast majority, a way to speed up evolution is through meditation, having a consistent spiritual practice. No taint of karmic entanglement remains for him who has been purified by right action and engaged in divine communion or yoga, and has dissolved his ego in infinity, has achieved victory over the senses, and has realized himself as one with the self of all. So this is again talking about the Jivan Mukta. The Jivan Mukta is the person who is freed by living, while living. He has already connected to source. And so after that, whatever action he performs will not accrue karma, because when he is acting straight from source. He is connected to source. So his actions will not get him karma. He who in the state of union with God has cognized the truth, fully understands, I myself do nothing at all. Though he sees, hears, touches, smells, tastes, moves about, sleeps and breathes, speaks and excretes and grasps with his hands, opens or closes his eyes. Such a person knows at all times that these are but the senses engaging their sense objects. As the lotus leaf is untouched by water, so the yogi who acts without attachment, self-offered to the divine, is not affected by sensory experience, whether gross or subtle. So it's like the swan or the water drop on a lotus leaf. Nothing leaves an imprint. When we allow entanglements, that's when we take cellular imprints onto us, and that's when the karmic wheels start turning. If we are already connected to source, then we know that the ego is false. This is only God flowing through me. I am really not doing anything. It is that source which is doing it through me. My eyes, nose, taste, smell, all these five senses are just here for me to be able to perceive the world of duality, but I am nothing. So the ego is completely missing. The moment the ego is totally killed, then you are one with source. Till the time the ego is there, there is a separation. So Yogananda always used to say that I killed Yogananda a long time ago. Nothing dwells here but God. This is a person in perpetual nirvikalpa samadhi. This person may be acting in the world, but is constantly channeling source energy, right? Yeah, Priyanka.
For me, so Jnana Yoga, Raja Yoga, are they not? So Karma Yoga should be a subset of all of this, isn't it? Because everywhere it involves the right action. Even Raja Yoga, which we are practicing, isn't it involving the right? Can we be on a path of salvation without actually doing the right karma?
No, so that's what Master says, that we need all the paths. Ultimately, they will flow into each other. So what is being said here is, don't start fighting about the different paths. Each path will take a bit. Even people who are Jnana yogis, they do meditate. Even people who are meditators, they do action in the world, right? So it is from which angle you're coming. That is acceptable. The main thrust of your understanding of philosophy may be through Jnana Yoga. The main thrust of your understanding may be through meditation or Raja Yoga. The main thrust of your understanding of God may be through service or Karma Yoga, right? But ultimately, all of them will lead you to source. And all of them, there are overlapping qualities. That's for sure. Because you cannot be a karma yogi without understanding the philosophy of Jnana Yoga, the discrimination that I should be unattached to the results of action. You cannot be just a meditator without, while you're meditating, in meditation, you will get the knowing, you will get the wisdom, which a Jnana yogi may be learning through the scriptures. So these are all different approaches which are coming towards the same center. And as they are coming closer to each, they are kind of merging. So you're right. The seeker must practice non-attachment to sensory experiences for until he becomes firmly established in the self, that's with a capital self. He may find himself drawn out of it inadvertently by the fascination of new experiences. So what do we do every time we meditate? We are withdrawing our senses from the outer world, and we are bringing in the energy up the astral spine. So this is a regular practice where we are removing our attachment from the external world, even though we are very much in it, but we are becoming conscious that it is our five senses which pull us out into the world and further away from source. So gradually, what are we doing with a regular meditative practice? Gradually bringing all our senses under control, under rein. So, and we understand the dangers of just getting sucked in by the drama of the world, of one new excitement after the other, knowing that only this is real, right? So in the Mahabharata, what are the five horses which which Krishna is reigning in? Those are the five senses, right? And it is no coincidence that Krishna is Arjuna's charioteer. Krishna is helping Arjuna to rein in the five senses as he moves into battle. So he is controlling the five horses and he is driving the chariot. So we are being told that be conscious of the fact that the sensory indulgences, say too much of drinking, too much of partying, too much of social media, too much of, running here, running there, will ultimately move you away from source. So try not to get sucked into too many outer activities. Have a very powerful inner practice, which will always keep you connected to source so that you don't stray away and get lost and then wonder, why is my energy going down? Why am I feeling sick? And why am I not feeling the joy? And why am I not feeling so happy as I used to 3 months ago when I had my meditation practice? This happens. Often it will happen. So that is a reminder to bring back your senses to the source. Milk, when poured on water, commingles with it. The milk must be churned to butter before it can float, undiluted on the surface. By practicing inner centeredness, the yogi is said to churn the butter of his awareness by separating the curds of firm understanding from the watery way of sensory dependency. So what is the yogi doing? He is just bringing his connection to self into stronger and stronger focus, so that, the rest of the world, which is the water over here, you just leave out and you just take the core of life rather than get messed up in, diluting your life in many ways, which ultimately are meaningless. So then once the yogi has that proper discrimination that this is what matters and this is what is some excitement in the world, once we are aware of that, what is going to take us towards source and what is going to drain our energy, ultimately you can see it as a play of energy. What is going to give me more energy and what is going to drain my energy? Very simply put, what gives you energy is moving you towards source. What is draining your energy is taking you away from source. So become conscious of your energy. Become conscious what makes you tired, what makes you exhausted. Those are the things you need to avoid. What makes you feel full of energy? What makes you feel joyful? Those are the things that you should move towards. That is entirely what this whole thing is about. This is the Dwapar Yuga. This is the energy age. We need to understand our energies. Anything that is draining my energy is taking me away from source. Any thought pattern, any relationship, any activity that drains your energy is, you should become very aware of it, move away from it. Any relationship, any activity, any thought pattern that is making you joyful and full of energy, move towards that. That's a very simple way of understanding how to remain connected to source, remain connected to your joy. So once a yogi knows this and he has understood what is meaningful and what is not, he can then go anywhere, do anything, mix with anyone, and still remain inwardly unaffected by the illusory attractions of Maya. So once you really have internally, you are so centered and you are so solid, wherever you go, it really doesn't matter. Nothing is going to draw you away from source. This stanza has a deeper meaning, which is why the common translations of sensory experience as sin or as the perfectly logical karmic involvement, both of which versions seem to encompass the full meaning, are in fact inadequate. Understood literally and not figuratively, to avoid what seems otherwise merely an unnecessary repetition, the expression here becomes a wonderful further explanation of the spiritual path. This explanation, as the lotus leaf is untouched by water, so the yogi who acts without attachment and offers himself to the divine is not affected by sensory experience. So that's what Swamiji is saying, that whether it is sensory experience that we are getting drained by or we are getting entangled with karmic stuff, these are all, we need to understand it from a higher perspective and we need to move out of it. When the life force is withdrawn from outward body awareness during deep meditation, the yogi beholds currents of energy trickling back through the flesh, like little rills of rainwater in a forest. So the great river of to the great river of energy in the spine. So when we are meditating, what's happening? When we are bringing up the energy continuously to the spiritual eye, we are bringing back all our soul parts from wherever it is scattered. Okay, we are pulling back all our energy and we are moving it upwards. And we can actually feel it. You know, people, when they first start meditating, they'll go around like this. They'll feel, even if I'm not moving, the energy is moving. So, you know, all our nadis or the what do you call it, nerve channels, the energy channels, they will start bringing in all the energy to the center of the spine. So we are all these, wherever we have scattered our energies, starts coming back to the mighty river of energy which is flowing up the spine. Here it's talking about the nadis also. When all the body's currents are in this way withdrawn, they then pass successively into and through the three luminous nadis channels of life force in the astral spine, the Sushumna, which is the outermost, the Vajra, and then the Chitra. Passing through the Chitra, the energy and consciousness enter the innermost channel, the Brahmanari, which constitute the spine of the causal body. It was through the Brahmanari that Brahma, the creative aspect of Om, in his aspect of creator of individual beings and their three bodies, descended into outward manifestation. It is through this final channel of Brahmanari, therefore, that the soul must once more ascend in order to become again one with spirit. So we keep talking about the Ida and Pingala and the Sushumna Nadis, right? The central channel through which the Kundalini will rise, and the channel, the feminine Nadi, the feminine energies, the receptive energies which flow through the Ida, the masculine energy which flows through the Pingala. I have explained that before. So these are known at a inner level. There are three luminous nadis, channels of life force. That is the Shushumna, which is the outermost, then the Vajra, and then the Chitra. Passing through the Chitra, the energy and consciousness enter the innermost channel, even within the Shushumna, is the Brahmanari, the deepest energy channel, which connects to source. Now, yogis can go into that depth in their meditation. How do they do that? The more concentrated, single-minded concentration, that will draw in all your energies into the Brahmanadi. And how do yogis die? Finally, when they decide to leave the body, they are very clear. They will take all their energies in. They will go into the Brahmanadi and they will leave through the Brahmanadi, either through the crown or through the spiritual eye, and merge straight with source. Why are they doing that? Because if they leave from any old place in the body, it will not reach the light. You will float around like a ghost. Of course, there are ghosts. Your energies will not move to source. And you will get caught in a lot of other entanglements. So what does a yogi do? Takes all his energies, whatever is there in the world, so that he doesn't have to come back again. So he's cleared everything and moved up the Brahmanadi. Most of us have cellular memories, all of us, most of us, attachments, everything floating. We don't have the concentration. At the time of death, people are usually so checked out or frightened, they are not conscious. Yogis die consciously. They die when they decide, I am now going to leave the body. They are sitting up straight in meditation, complete attention, and then they will all their energies to move up out of the body into source. And that is how they leave the body. Not like all of us who, disease, old age, depression, not wanting to go, afraid of death, nothing of the sort. Because they are always connected to source. So it is through that the yogi will leave the body. He withdraws his energy up through this final channel. He is able fully to offer his separate individual consciousness into infinity. In any case, he was connected to source. Now he merges with source completely. He doesn't come back into his body. Okay, what is the time? Okay, so we end here today. If anybody has questions, quickly. Otherwise, we will continue next Sunday. Sugandha, you're muted in case you're raising your hand.
I wanted to ask, can an atheist be a spiritual person.
100%.
So how does we explain the concepts with like minusing the God part out of it?
It doesn't matter. You see, if his energies, if through incarnations, his soul has evolved, in this life, he may be an atheist, but somewhere or the other, he has known connection to source. When you say atheist, he may be saying, he may not be agreeing to conventional ideas of God. He may say, I don't believe in God. I believe in myself. He may be connected to source. He's only calling it by another name. He also doesn't know. So there is spontaneous evolution. So not everybody will go through understanding it intellectually, right? There are many, even say mentally retarded people who are very, very pure. They have simply come in this life to be a karmic trigger for other people around them. But actually, they are very evolved souls. So you never know what is the evolutionary journey of that person. So they can definitely spontaneously connect to God. And somebody who says, I do not believe in God and I do not believe in God, suddenly gets enlightened. You hear stories about those robbers, those dakus, fearsome characters. They suddenly get enlightened. All their lives they have said, I don't believe in God and I am going to kill and loot and this is what it is. But at a certain point, the soul faces a choice. Either your brain will shift in the direction of source or it will shift in the direction of psychopath. So at that critical moment, you may suddenly become enlightened. And all this while you were saying, I'm an atheist. The truth does not change, whatever you may say. Yeah. Okay. So we'll end with a prayer today. Divine Mother, thou art omnipresent. Thou art in all thy children. Manifest thy healing power in all bodies, minds, and souls. So rub your hands about 20 times and chant Om 3 times, sending out the healing energy into the world. Om. Shanti, Shanti. So see you all next week. And now Kriyaban, stay back.
Thank you. Thank you so much.